It's official. AEW is creating a TBS Women's Championship. It will be the women's equivalent to the TNT Championship. AEW has announced a tournament to determine the first champion, with the finals being on January 5th on the first episode of AEW Dynamite on TBS. So now, the speculation and debate begins as to who will be the first TBS champion. I have 5 candidates I believe would be good choices for the first TBS Women's Champion. Coming in at number 5, I have Big Swole. Swole is an AEW original and a fan favorite. Swole oozes charisma and personality, which is something you want in a TV champion. Swole has been missing from AEW television, appearing mainly on Dark and Elevation. Watching Swole on Dark and Elevation, she has improved in the ring and developed her moveset as well. While Swole has not been seen on AEW television, a deep run in the TBS title tournament could get fans to root for the charismatic star. Coming in at number 4, I have Ty Conti. Conti is an up-and-coming star in AEW. Conti has appeared on AEW television more frequently, even having a really good TV match versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship. Being able to have good championship matches on TV is a priority number 1 in my opinion for the first TBS champion. Conti becoming the first TBS champion would also be a small feather in the cap for AEW, as Conti was considered a failed project by WWE and NXT. It would show that AEW has the ability to train and mold a legitimate champion out of someone that was once considered a failure. Coming in at number 3, I have AEW's new signee, Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho has been on some fans' radar since her independent wrestling days. Ruby is an enigmatic babyface that has a different vibe from most of the women on AEW's roster. Ruby has the ability to have great TV championship matches, as she proved at AEW Grand Slam. Ruby would be the polar opposite to current AEW Women's Champion, Dr. Britt Baker. Becoming the first TBS champion would cement Ruby as one of the top stars in the AEW Women's division. Coming in at number 2, I have Jade Cargill. When talking about Jade, I want you to forget everything I've been saying about proving you can have good championship matches on TV. Selecting Jade as your first TBS champion is all about trying to make another superstar in the women's division. Jade has a look and a presence that anyone watching will immediately stop and take notice. Naming Jade your TBS champion gets her in the ring more, having longer matches with likely more experienced opponents. Jade has the most star potential in the division right now, and winning the TBS championship would be the platform for her to show it. And my number 1 pick for the first ever AEW TBS Women's Champion is Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb is the best women's wrestler that AEW has on its roster. Deeb has not had a bad match since coming to AEW, whether it be on Dynamite, Dark, Elevation, pay-per-view. Deeb is consistently putting on good performances. Deeb also has the ability to make her opponents look good as well. She's a master technician, and a lot of women could learn from having matches with her. Serena Deeb would be a workhorse defending that belt on weekly television. I believe in putting championships on the best talent that you have, and that's why I would make Serena Deeb the first TBS Women's Champion. And those are my 5 candidates to become the first ever TBS Women's Champion. How do you like my list? What's your list? Comment down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.